We may as well, because this is how it usually works. But yeah, you're right. They didn't. They should have put Krang and they should have put Shredder out. Krang should have been the right scale, though.
Yeah, I'm tempted to buy. I was tempted to buy that one, the
Gouken one.
Yeah, man, that shit is on fire. It's so nice.
Yeah, I don't have the
money. Yeah, I can't do it.
It's like $175 or something like that. Like, yeah, nope.
Yeah, I can't do it. And I'm not gonna lie, I donated to that Kickstarter for the that Mega Man figure, the Mega Man X, based on that April Fool's design. So I definitely don't have any money.
How much did you donate to that?
Enough to get the.
I donated to Kung Fury.
Oh, you did?
A year ago.
Yeah, I should have did that. I should have donated to Marauders too, but I didn't do that.
I did that too.
I didn't have money at that time.
Still waiting on that damn figure, man. And every time I mention it on the freaking Joe community, quote unquote, they're real like rude or they just don't answer. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I paid money for something. I helped you get something done.
They didn't say when it was coming out?
The only thing, I got something from Marauders themselves. They were like, they had an issue with joint tolerances being like stupid tight to the point where you're breaking the figure when you try to loosen the joints. So they had to recall everything that was done last year around the right time and start all over. So, but still, if you already made all that stuff and all you had to do is retool the joint tolerances when you're putting shit together, it shouldn't be 6 months more of work.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, I could be wrong. It doesn't seem like it would be a whole year until you get back out what you already did. I mean, I think. I don't know. I want to imagine that it wasn't millions of people that donated.
Yeah.
I imagine it was in the thousands or maybe even the hundreds of thousands. So,
well, if they're smart, they're going to get their orders for the donations first.
Exactly.
Before they produce for the mass market.
Exactly. And that's what they said they were going to do. And if you look on the site says they finally put up the availability for, or that they will be having the Task Force figures on the website. You'll be able to buy them now or soon. But I'm assuming it has to be after the the orders get done. That would make sense. That's what any smart company would do.
How much was their goal, and how much did they meet or exceed it?
Oh, it was like a couple 100,000, I think.
Over it?
And they went way over it.
Oh, shit.
Like, way
they
over
probably
it.
had a lot of orders, man.
Yeah. It might have even have been, I can't remember. I know that whatever it was, they were several thousands of dollars over their
yeah, that's how it was for that Mega Man. I got on it 3 days till it was done, and they were well over their goal. So I just was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna get the figure." So
yeah,
because I knew they were gonna make it because motherfuckers want
they like Mega Man,
game.
and Capcom keeps shitting on Mega Man,
yeah.
So of course
Capcom's retarded.
Yeah, they are. So I don't know. This is off our brains, as you guys already know. We just figured we'd start because this is kind of how it is, and I don't know. These are
reform.
Exactly. But so I know up here on the actual screen it says stuff about Hasbro, Daredevil, and DC television and stuff. But I wanted to talk real quick about the new Joker. Now, it's funny to me because, I said I don't really care. So, this is not really, one of those, I'm butthurt or something, as you guys love to say. It's not that I give a shit because, like I said, I already don't give a shit. I just want, if I'm pleasantly surprised, that'll be enough for me. But it's not really going to go farther than that. I don't care if it bombs. I don't care if it's great. It'll just be a nice something else for us to watch. I already have a shitload of DC animated films to watch that are way above whatever the live action shit could be. So I don't even care. Fucking animated films better than Avengers. So I don't even care. You know what I mean? So, but...
They just need to keep him in a suit, keep him clothed.
Yeah,
be as bad.
Yeah, this hipster version, this emo fucking millennial bullshit that they're doing is just annoying. And I'm tired of people saying, every time they make a costume, a redesign of a character and it misses the mark, you always have people that say the same exact fucking line. Like, if it's the character's been around for like 75 years, so, you know, he's gonna change. But then why didn't they change that much in 75 years until the films? You know what I mean? Like Batman. We finally have a Batman in a film that looks like what Batman is supposed to look like. They didn't give him a black armored suit. He's got gray and some kind of dark bluish kind of slate color on his, you know, his helmet, cowl, gloves, and boots. And Superman, it's pretty close. I mean, they changed things, obviously, but it still feels more like a comic book version.
It looks better than the previous versions of Superman.
Yeah, it looks
Superman Returns.
Exactly, exactly.
You can't sit there and tell me that the new Superman costume looks better than that shit with his or the
old one looks better. You mean?
Yeah, the old one looks better than the new shit with his fucking
his bikini briefs.
Yeah.
His fucking Speedo.
Tailor made to fit his butt.
I know, right? Like while he's flying through the air, he wants to advertise his package.
Calvin Klein.
Oh my god! But yeah, like that shit. Even Wonder Woman, she looks extremely close to the comics, where they got rid of the parts that felt like they weren't well thought out, like white and red boots that don't really fit the Amazon aesthetic. Like, even what I drew of Wonder Woman, I still was along the lines of, like, Xena, Warrior Princess, and that's kind of what they ended up going with.
Yeah, because her original costume, if you think about it, it really has nothing to do with Greek anything.
Yeah, except she had wraps on her legs. That was it. She had, like, those crisscross wraps around her ankles, but that's it. So, yeah, for them to go back and feed off and accentuate the Greek heritage, that makes sense. But this Joker is supposed to be a pretty smart but like really psychotic, dapper dresser that looks like a fucking clown, and everything he does goes back to the clown motif, you know, the jokes and all that shit.
Yeah, you're supposed to get his character from the things he does and the things he says.
Like what that man said.
I shouldn't have to look on his body to understand that he's the Joker. Because he tattooed the Joker card and ha ha ha
all over his arm,
a big smile on his
forearm.
It's like,
just it's too much. It's too much. If you ask a child, draw me the Joker or what does the Joker look like, he's gonna say he wears a purple suit, he has green hair, white skin, red lips. Simple. You don't need to go all over the place with him running around like fucking Lil Wayne and shit.
Cash money.
You know what I mean?
Somebody did that shit. They made his grill gold. Oh. They wrote Cash Money up. Made it look like an album.
Wow.
Yeah, some of the memes for that shit are hilarious.
Because it's so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't care what any of you motherfuckers say, because there's a whole bunch of you out there that just, you eat up whatever's given to you. You're like I said in previous videos, like other reviewers have pointed out, well, a few reviewers have pointed out, you're the reason why Transformers made billions of dollars. So you don't get to enter this argument and actually have a leg to stand on because you'll eat it up regardless. If they put him in a suit, you guys would have been like, oh my god, it's great. Or,
it would look better if he had a suit on because somebody did a Photoshop of that.
And maybe they will. You know what I mean? It's early. It's early. I'm not completely just dissing every option and just, you know, bitching about it. It's just the fact that they even bothered to go there. You know how much money you would have saved if you didn't draw all the fucking tattoos, the corny-ass tattoos on them? I mean, it's like they're trying so hard to pander to the audience that's newest to all of this stuff, which is like the millennials, and they're not focusing on all of the rest of the people in the world who already know. And the fact that most people, if you tell a good story, they're going to go and see the movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see Marvel doing any of this bullshit with their characters at all. They do.
Hell, you don't see with Star Wars.
Yeah,
I guarantee you they're gonna cater to the original audience that watched Star Wars because that's their biggest fan base.
But they're making it.
Accessible for new people. But they're not gonna leave the old fans in the dust.
Exactly. And that's what I'm sick of seeing with the DC stuff. That's why I keep saying it's gonna be a train wreck. They're doing too much to try and like overly modernize these characters who they've been around, you know, for fucking generations, and they didn't really have to do much but tell you the story. And the story was modern enough. The setting of the stories were modern enough. You didn't really have to do anything. All this giving him a grill and fucking, you know, the tattoos and the one glove and the... Come the fuck on, man. That's like way too much for a character that's cemented in people's minds. Like, people who like Batman know who the fuck the Joker is. You don't have to go and do all that shit. So, to me, that's fucking stupid.
And if there's somebody... I read a comment in one of the articles I was reading about it, and a guy was saying how this Joker is supposed to mimic the New 52 Joker.
Oh, the more psychotic one?
Yeah, and I don't know, because I gave up on the New 52 long before the Joker showed up.
Yeah, but tattoos don't make him psychotic.
Yeah, I get it. But I guess he's supposed to be more fucked up because they're trying to pander to the Heath Ledger Dark Knight audience now.
Yeah, which
we don't even know if those people are even reading the books.
Most people who like those movies were not comic book fans.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention and ask people, and we talk to tons of people about this kind of shit, most people watch the movie and wait for the sequel. They don't go back and study up by reading the comics. They either go on Wikipedia so they can find out if what they watched was at least kind of close to what existed in the comics beforehand, or they just wait for the next movie. So, like, this magical demographic that they keep trying to pander to, it's getting old. It's really getting old. And it sucks that at first I thought that if comic book movies go, what's the word I was looking for? Critical mass. If they go critical mass, I thought it was going to be because Marvel is oversaturating the market with these films. I think if they go critical mass, it's going to be because DC keeps on putting out these kind of weird, I don't even know where these characters exist in the DC universe. You know, like, nothing in the films a lot of times feels like what you had been reading all this time. Like, they make this alternate universe where it's like things that would not fly in the comics, they throw them on screen on purpose, and then they tell you, oh, it wouldn't work on page. But it's like, you know, a lot of things can work on the page. A lot of things can work on the page. I mean, like The Killing Joke, they're not going to ever make that into a movie, not a live-action movie. They've already made references to it with Birds of Prey. Awful. But that part was actually probably the best part of the series because the costume didn't look bad. You know, Barbara's costume didn't look bad right before that scene, and the Joker looked the part. They didn't try to redesign him or overthink it. They said, we're going to do this pretty much just like it looked in the comic. So, you know, this whole, like, we can't do it here, we can do it here. It's bullshit. With the technology you have now, you can do anything. Yeah. You know, you see, if you can put manga in, they're making a fucking live-action Attack on Titan, and you still have Marvel execs and DC execs, or more so DC people trying to tell you what can be done on screen and what can't be done on screen. Those motherfuckers need to give me their job. Because those me and Agent O, because they obviously don't get it. You know what I mean? They're still holding on to the old ways. It's kind of like toy executives that say that female figures don't sell. But all of us who collect figures were struggling to find Black Widow, who was going for stupid prices
almost
online.
Double at one point.
Triple. There were some people selling her for hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're saying, oh, they don't sell. Didn't all those figures move? They sure enough fucking did. Fucking Scarlet Witch moved. Fucking Captain Marvel moved. Every female Marvel legend that they've made so far, good or bad, they've all moved. So it's obviously a myth. This is the same kind of logic that these new guys are doing. It's like, they're still telling you, shit cannot be done on screen. There's nothing that can't be done on screen anymore. I mean, there are films that wouldn't be done based on the content of the film, but the actual action that happens in the films, I mean, in those books, that shit could be done on screen. I mean, do you think it can?
Yeah, it could be done.
I mean, if they wanted,
they have to get people out of that mentality of the limited suspension of disbelief.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, fuck
trying
that.
to ground everything.
Yeah, that's only here.
Dealing with comic books doesn't make sense. Like if you tried to ground, like, there's no way you could ground Attack on Titan into reality. You know, it wouldn't work. It would fail. You can't ground Lord of the Rings in reality. Exactly. It wouldn't work. It would fail. So why do that? Why do you think you have to do that with comic books? It boggles my mind. Like, I can't get my mind around that.
Yeah.
Because you have, like, this is the only genre where you have, like, theological aspects, you have mythology, you have science fiction, you have aliens, you have wizards, warlocks, all sorts of shit, and it all works. It almost is like an anything goes mentality.
Exactly.
So I don't get how it doesn't work. Like you have movies like Men in Black, which people didn't know right away that it was based off of a Marvel comic. You know, but they watched it and they dug it. They got into it enough that they made 3 movies total out of it.
Yeah.
Now
the quality. Yeah, it varied. And, but still, they made those movies.
Yeah, it was enough to get people into it. So, like, why? Like, it feels like people try to treat the genre of the comic book as some kind of like stigma or taboo when it comes to film.
It's the truth. It's people with no imagination trying to take on the genre with the most imagination. Or one of the genres with the most imagination.
You couldn't even have Pacific Rim without the influence of manga and anime. And that movie did well enough that they're going to do a sequel.
No, the movie did amazing everywhere else except for here because you motherfuckers are brainwashed because you keep listening to the wrong people. Now we can go into the DC part. I know that's the last thing on the list, but I want to talk about it because you've watched some of Arrow, right?
Yeah.
And you've watched some of Flash, right?
I haven't started Flash yet.
Well, with Arrow, we can focus on Arrow.
I've watched parts of Flash.
Why is it that with DC television they just don't fucking get it? Like I've watched all of Arrow, and I read. I think the guy's name is Mark Guggenheim, the lead writer or whatever, or producer, whatever. And he keeps talking about trying to make this like Batman Begins, and I'm like,
that's not Arrow.
That's not the Green Arrow. And then you have fans that are like, oh, it's good enough because it's something to watch. So they fight for whatever the guy is saying, even though what he's saying makes no sense. So they've borrowed so much from Batman that this could have been a Batman TV show.
Exactly.
And you still have people arguing that, oh, it's still good. You still have people gossiping.
And took his character, some of his rogues gallery, and kind of watered them the fuck down. Like, I still can't get over a fucking Firefly.
Yeah, man, that was terrible.
Was fucking whack.
Yeah, he was a fucking fireman. It's just, it's bad. It's really bad. And it's funny because like I watched it for a while as a guilty pleasure because it was somewhere around the middle of the second season where there were some interesting things going around where
the
Deathstroke. Oh Lord, Mirakuru. I'm like, hey, you guys take that shit seriously. Mirakuru. Come on,
Miracle.
Call it Miracle. Know. Yeah.
What it means?
Should made me so mad.
You even spell it out in the show.
Yeah.
So the audience gets it, and you still call it that shit, and then fucking mispronouncing the Japanese like phonetics. Oh god. Yeah, man.
Shit's insulting, and you guys are like, oh, it's cool. I watch all the reviews, and I read just to see what people think because partially I get it automatically because once when I got my phone, I looked up Arrow, so now there's these like cards that show up on the side of things of interest, like where I'm going and places I go to often, and websites and movies that I've checked on. And it'll just send me information about it. So like almost every couple weeks or every week, I'm getting some information about Arrow, even after I've watched the whole thing. And like what I find is this: if Green Arrow was supposed to be like this, then I would be like, okay, spot on, good job. I have no complaints. My complaints would be real small. It'd be like writing things, But like taking characters like Ra's al Ghul. Ra's al Ghul has been a fucking Batman villain from like the onset, and everybody's just like, oh, they're using Ra's al Ghul, and no one seems to have an issue with this.
My biggest issue though is how in their right mind would they think that Green Arrow would be a contender to even take on Ra's al Ghul in the first place? Ra's al Ghul beats Batman. Yeah. And there's no way there's no way Green Arrow can beat Batman. Yeah. So that series should have ended. Ra's al Ghul killed him. It should have been the end. Roll credits.
They should have never even went in that direction. I mean, freaking the bootleg Misa that they got in there. Oh, because like obviously Ra's al Ghul been around for so long, he would have lots of kids. So they're like, oh, he's got another chick that looks vaguely like Talia al Ghul, and we'll have her in here. Only we won't make her the love interest of the freaking Green Arrow. It'll be the love interest of the Black Canary. Are you fucking kidding me? And you guys are perfectly... I'm not even talking about the lesbian situation or bisexual situation. I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. Love is love. I don't give a shit what the package is. What I'm saying is the characters. You know what I mean? Like,
unless it's animals, no animals.
Yeah, no animals. You're right. You're right. Bestiality is where we draw the goddamn line. All right? Fucking no bestiality. But still, like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, there's so many other characters that they could have, like, expanded on. I mean, like, what about Hive? They could have actually used Hive the way it is in the comics and had Hive creating, like, an evil Hydra Shield. I'm thinking Shield and Hydra because, you know, the big reveal. But kind of like Shield, where you have all these agents with all these skills. You could do the same thing with Hive because that's exactly what Hive is. But instead, they're not really using Hive the way they could have. I mean, maybe they are going to down the road because they've introduced Hive. I think this season they introduced them. But
they misused Deathstroke.
Oh, that's another one. Oh my God! Talk about missing the point. They completely missed. They missed the point so bad. The guy playing the role had to point out how badly they missed the goddamn point. They beat him after a long, what was it, like 6-episode arc of him doing all kinds of shit, killing off family members, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then they bring him back in one episode so that Thea and Ollie could beat him up? Really? When neither one of them by themselves...
Thea looks like a hamburger would beat her up because she needs to eat one. She's so thin.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I could never get over that she was going to be like training with, what's his name?
Malcolm.
The Dark Archer or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she always looked like, really
Bones.
This? Why am I dying?
Oh my God. She needed a hot beef injection. Yeah.
Roy wasn't serving it up.
Yeah, man. That's probably the last thing they did that actually I was like, oh, that's not bad. Roy faked his death. Well, first of all, they found out that Ollie was, it was revealed that Ollie was the Arrow. And because Captain Lance was just like, fuck it, I'm going to go get this motherfucker. Because he found out from his other daughter that, what's her name, Sarah was the Canary and all that craziness, and that she died the way she died, and she knew, and Ollie knew, and everybody knew, but they didn't tell him. So he just went nuts and was like, fuck it, I'm bringing him down. So anyway, they found out where the base, the Arrow Cave, air quotes, the Arrow fucking cave was. They arrested, Ollie turned himself in. Then
Roy, it's public knowledge.
Well, kind of, because then Roy showed up in costume with the voice changer and gave himself up. He was like, you got the wrong man, I'm the Arrow. So then they put it all on Roy, and then Roy faked his death. Well, they faked Roy's death in prison, so everyone thought he was, the Arrow, and he actually got killed.
Kind of slick.
I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good way to take all suspicion away from the character. But the funny thing is, did Ollie utilize this? Nope. He turned around and he joined the League of Assassins.
What?
Yeah. There was a bunch of reasons for why it happened, but it was like, he straight up dacked down Felicity and joined the League of Assassins. I was like,
I would have done that too.
That's how the series would have started. when I went and I said, I have this thing, this computer, I want you to get some information off of it. And if you want to, you should come over and you should do that at my house.
This hard drive over here.
I know, right? I got this long flash drive I want to put somewhere. Like that's how the series would have started if it was me. And it wouldn't have taken all these dumb turns that it took, man. I swear, when people bitch about superhero films, like DC films being a joyless situation, how come you don't bring up Arrow? There's hardly any jokes. It's always a kind of joke whenever someone says something funny. The situations are fucking annoying. Fucking, what's the guy's name? Once Upon a Time with Superman. Brandon Routh as Roy Palmer is fucking annoying. And the fact that he was supposed to be Ted Kord, that blows my mind that somehow didn't happen, because it would have made more sense. Because Ted Kord he's a billionaire or a millionaire. He does work with Bruce Wayne, and he worked with Oliver Queen, and he does all that kind of shit that you're seeing Roy do. But you're not seeing, now that his name is Roy, they didn't tweak enough of him to make him more of a like a scientist and less of a billionaire playboy. Like, it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for the character. Whether you like the character, whether you know about it or not, it doesn't work. But it seems to work for a lot of people, and I just don't get it.
Those people don't read the comics. Because if you read the comics, you'd see where you'd make the same connections.
Yeah.
And you'd see like how this would have came out even better than what they put out.
And it's tiring that, you know, you keep hearing this stupid philosophy that, oh yeah, it's a different universe, so we could do what we want. But then why use the names? Why not go back to like how they did in the 80s, where they had all these weird superhero shows that didn't exist anywhere else except for on primetime television? You know, except for maybe The Flash, and that was like early 90s. But they had shit like Super Force. They had all those vehicles that were just ridiculously powerful, like fucking Airwolf and Street Hawk and shit like that. Like,
well, they had what's that show?
Nightman,
Electro Woman and Dyna Girl.
Oh yeah, like that, yeah.
Which they're trying to do now as a web series.
Yeah, that was on the what was that shit called? The something. It was like a kids TV like hour, kind of like Pinwheel and shit like that back in the day. So it wasn't serious, but it was in the vein of like, you know, the old Shazam show, old Superman and shit like that. What's it called? HR Puff and stuff or some shit like that? Yeah, it was something like that.
Kind of trippy looking.
Yeah, it was. It was like that psychedelic 60s shit. But I don't know, man. I'm just like, ugh. And then on the flip side, you go to Flash, and you'll probably forget by the time you get to this stuff that I'm about to say. The Flash started out, and I was just like, oh, man, why are they making Barry Allen act like Wally West? And then why do they have people that Wally West met, which would have been years after Barry Allen was the Flash, and he disappeared, why do they have those characters interacting with Barry Allen? And then something happens kind of midway through, or no, at the very tail end of this first season, where they reveal that between the Reverse Flash and the regular Flash fighting in our time period, or whatever the time period is, the current time period, they created a paradox. And as a result of the paradox, you have a separate timeline. So like shit lines up until it gets to that, and then during that fight they did stuff where now that timeline branches off. So now everything that you see from that point on, it's a parallel but separate universe. So now
it's kind of like how in the comics when they reveal later on that the Flash actually gave himself the powers because he was the lightning bolt that struck himself.
Pretty much. It's similar to that. So they're pretty much saying fuck DC, fuck Warner Brothers and all your stipulations and shit on what we can and can't do. This is a multiverse story. Like, that's fucking genius, because DC does that all the time.
Yeah.
And now when you introduce characters, I mean, it's still kind of low on the way in comparison to the way things work in the cartoons that you've seen the Flash in and the TV show, and even it's better than the original TV show. I'll give them that. But like, there's still there's this line that they seem not to cross as far as how crazy shit gets. And you got guys that can run at the speed of fucking sound or speed of light. It's ridiculous, but it's like, how come you guys won't? Maybe they're going to, because it's still the first season, so they've got time. But just seeing that shit, it's like, okay, these writers want to do something to separate themselves from all the other crap that DC has been putting on television. And did you see the Supergirl costume? Oh God. Matter of fact, I want his reaction like to be like live on this this video, because that shit is horrible. It's like they took all the color, all the what you call it, like style. It's just so bad. It's so bad. I'm like, you guys, you're overdoing all the changes when you could just simply follow what has been set up for you, and it would make more sense. It's fucking lame. You know, the colors are wrong. They didn't even dye the girl's hair blonde.
What?
The actress playing her. I'm just like, is this really that difficult? There's pornos with better superhero costumes. It's bad. It's fucking bad.
Yeah. One day I was looking up episodes of, that's...
It looks like some shit you would get at like Spencer's or something. Like, it's bad.
It looks like they tried to do the movie, a variation of the movie costume, but...
They missed the point.
Yeah.
They missed the point. Like,
I think the worst thing is those boots, man.
The Lady of the Night boots?
Yeah, man. Poker boots.
She be walking the
like,
street.
they could have done some, like, those high biker riding boots or something. That would have been all right.
They should have imitated the new 52 boots.
Yeah.
Those boots actually look cool. They don't look like shit people wear here. They should have played up the alien
her hair's
aspects.
blonde. It's just not bright blonde.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you put... I hate when you put the characters... Usually, okay, as a character designer, right? You'll have a palette. And they'll say, like, this is the type of blue that you use for this character. It's this percentage blue, whatever. This is always what we use for this person.
Yeah.
If you don't use this, you are not drawing our character. Or you fucked up somehow on the colors or something. When you put those colors next to the movie versions, you know, the difference a movie has over comics is lighting. Yeah. Obviously, a good colorist could play around with the lighting, but typically, lighting is important in film. So if the suit is bright, don't film it in fucking, like, broad daylight, sun at the highest point in the sky.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah, like, fucking change the lighting. That's all you have to do to make all of these suits believable. Instead, they're always pulling all the color out of it. They desaturate the fuck out of every single superheroic character. And the whole point of them wearing costumes, brightly colored costumes or outrageously colored costumes, is icon status. You see them and you know exactly that they're not like everybody else. It's simple. These guys are special. They will help me no matter what the situation is, for the most part. You know, like, they just keep on muting the fuck out of the colors to the point where they blend in walking around in the street with other people, even though they got capes and underwear on and shit, you know? And it's like, why is this so hard for you to get?
Even if they had did that, like, you know how, like, Blade has the trench coat with the red underneath it. They had made the underside a little brighter. Just, yeah, if they just brighten this up a little bit.
Like, one color could have been pure red.
Yeah,
or
like,
pure
or make
blue,
the Superman insignia brighter. Punch it out some.
They took the yellow background out of the fucking S shield. Really? I mean, come on. The most recognizable symbol on the fucking planet, and you fuck it up and take elements out of it? And there's people like, oh, it looks great. Shut the fuck up and pay attention. Like, it's just frustrating as someone who draws comics, been into comics for so long, and, like, I love superheroes. And I'm seeing this dumb shit where they miss the point and then they come up with an excuse for why what they're doing is accurate.
Yeah, man, get rid of them hooker boots.
Yeah, that shit's terrible. The shit is fucking terrible.
It's like she's going to walk into a bachelor party and her whole costume's going to be... pull away. She's gonna start dancing with those boots.
It's just not. The lack of imagination is painful, especially when they got this shit right in the, what was that, 70s or early 80s?
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to screw this up so bad? I mean, like, there's fan cosplays of freaking Supergirl that look better than this costume. I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, look at that. That's a fucking cosplay.
Yeah, that's way better.
Anyway.
And the S is all huge.
Yep. And the yellow is still there. And it's not the typical generic S. It's the more futuristic alien-looking S. That's along the lines of what you saw in Man of Steel. These motherfuckers don't get it. And it's frustrating. They need people in there that get it and can present it to you so that you get it. Even if you think that all superhero costumes are too bright and they need to be muted for whatever magical reason you think that, you need a team that can put the shit on TV, on screen, and make it believable. Just like there were people who were able to make the Ninja Turtles believable when we were kids, we need that kind of logic.
Yeah, we're not talking about the new shit either.
No, we're not talking about the new shit. Yeah, fuck that new shit.
That shit.
We're talking about the freaking, the 80s
early 90s
movie.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Like, that's what we're talking about. They need that kind of logic, that kind of skill set. Those people that know how to take something fantastical and make it work. Not these idiots who have to put everything in that generic box.
Wow,
and then
this is way better.
Except
for not the half shirt one.
Yeah.
But the other two.
Yeah. All you guys need to do is just look up Supergirl TV costume, and then you'll see all these other like photo manipulations. Yeah, he did some really cool Wonder Woman photo manipulations of what her armor should have looked like in the film and stuff. And for the most part, they kind of went along the lines of what he actually did. But look up his stuff, Jeff Chapman. I think his site is jeffchapman.com, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's got tons of redesigns, and every single one is on point. Even the ones that are kind of slutty still work better than the one that we got. I'm just tired of the lack of imagination in Hollywood. The shit frustrates me because you're dumbing down shit that it thrives on imagination. Like, the whole reason why it works is the fact that the shit is so imaginative, you know? I don't know. That shit gets on my nerves. Now, Daredevil. We can jump on to Daredevil. I haven't finished it. I'm like on episode 10, so I'm almost done.
Yeah.
But you finished
I liked it. Yeah, I finished it.
My
biggest gripe though is I kind of wish the Kingpin was a bit smarter. Like he's smart, but when everything fell apart, like I would always imagine the comic book Kingpin, even if his mission or whatever his plan doesn't work out, he still has an exit strategy, or he still makes sure shit doesn't tie back to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, up until when it falls apart, he probably did have it. At least from what I've seen, that's how it was.
Yeah,
nobody even knew about him until 5 episodes into it, or 6 episodes.
When he had to step out and
no, I'm talking about before. They didn't even mention his name.
Yeah,
until for like the first 5 episodes, and then somewhere like 6 or 7, then he actually makes a public appearance.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, the series is almost done.
Yeah,
and now he's in the light. You know what I mean? So
I guess it's because he's kind of.
He
didn't come off. Yeah, he's not all there, and in the comic, he just seemed like way more collected.
Yeah, like in the comic, it's like he's been doing this shit for many years.
And then I like the. I don't know. I kind of like the not all there aspect. Like, I like the things that make him not all there, but I wish that stuff had made him not all there. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I think what they're doing is, instead of making him the typical mafioso Don that has everything in place and, he's got the plan A through Z, they wanted to say that, like, him finding... It's kind of like... He's a puzzle that as you put a new piece in, another piece falls out. So like he didn't feel like he needed someone. Then he meets Vanessa. So that puzzle piece has been put in, but now he's becoming sloppy because he's spending more time focusing on her than he was back in the day, focusing on his whole operation. And like Madame Gao pointed that shit out. Yeah. She was funny.
Yeah, I know. You haven't gotten to that yet. That was
funny as hell.
To spoil something for you, but
shit, I don't even care. I'm almost done. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight. So
yeah, man.
Go ahead.
All right, he busts up her heroin operation while she's there, and he was like, because you know how everybody who's preparing the drugs and shit, they're blind, which I really dug that because I'm tired of seeing like movies where everybody's naked, putting the drugs in the bag. Like, no, man.
And there's that one guy who's like Daredevil, who's like pocketing that shit.
Yeah, so
you can hear when your heartbeat gets a little further away and takes a couple sniffs real quick.
Yeah, so he busts that up, and he's like, why did you blind all these people and make them, sell drugs? That's, pretty messed up. And she was like, I helped save them from, basically a generic mundane life. And he was basically like not having it. So he reached to go take her, like to put her in custody. And she turned around and hit him with Jinx's palm. And that motherfucker went flying.
She hit him with
she was like, ah! She turned around and was like, ah! And he went flying. And then she dipped out. She was gone.
I have to see this.
I didn't expect it.
Yeah, because she seemed so sickly.
Yeah, and frail and shit. She had some moves on her. So it was just funny.
Yeah, I have to see this shit. I have to see.
Like, it's just one move, but he looked like he didn't even realize, he didn't see it coming with all his extrasensory abilities. But
she hit Daredevil.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying she hit Fisk.
Oh no, she hit Daredevil. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man, Daredevil's getting his ass kicked, and it's funny. This is my gripe I like the series, and I'll give him props. But as someone who's been watching kung fu and martial arts films for like my entire fucking life, I'm not blown away by the fights. People are like, oh, he gets tired. Okay, number one, when you practice martial arts and you get good, you don't get tired like that all the time.
Well, he was tired. You know, he was tired
injured,
from the beating that he took.
Yeah, he was injured and he was beat up. I get it. But what I'm saying is, like, for him to actually take down a bunch of Russians, like ex-fucking Spetsnaz and shit, with the sloppy-ass techniques he was doing, yeah, no. That was some bullshit.
It's his willpower, man.
Whatever. I'm sick of that shit. I was sick of that shit with Hal Jordan. I'm sick of that shit with him, too. I mean, it worked in this scene, you know, but it worked better in the context of the whole series, I guess, with Daredevil than it does with Hal Jordan. With Hal Jordan, it just feels like a bullshit character trait that they threw in there. Ooh, it's another white guy that's just got an indomitable spirit and just he can do everything better than the aliens who fucking created the goddamn Green Lantern rings. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Stop insulting people's intelligence, you know? And with Daredevil, I know he trained and he trained and he trained. One thing about Daredevil, even early in his career, is that he was really fucking good at what he did. He didn't take that kind of abuse all the time.
Yeah.
If he took that kind of abuse, he would have been dead earlier in his career.
I think he only should have took that abuse from the hand ninja, and Fist, because Fist does fight in the comics. Like they say in the comics, he's big, but a lot of, like, almost the majority of that is muscle.
It's muscle, yeah. That would make sense. I'm tired of watching him just take these blows. I'm like, dude, you can hear people down the goddamn street around the corner.
Yeah.
You can pick sounds out of a busy New York street, but you can't hear this one, you know, white guy in a room full of other guys about to swing at you. You can't hear that. You don't feel that. Like, it feels like they did it because it adds to the gritty, because, you know, you got to have him with his nose bleeding and shit. It adds to the gritty, whatever, realism of the show. And that's my second thing, is Daredevil is an amazing, fantastical character. He's in a situation that could happen, but the way he deals with it is not the way it probably would go down in reality if you guys really want to get real with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have these things that happen for the sake of gritty realism just because that's what happens in gritty, realistic films or shows or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that gritty realism thing is played the fuck out for me. He should be doing the kind of martial arts that you see in the more street-level Hong Kong films, but, like, occasionally
you throw in the
fantastical stuff.
Flipping jump kick and shit.
Like, he needs to be dipping and dodging to the point where you're like, God damn, how did he dodge all that shit? Because if you have heightened senses, look, if Snake Eyes can do it, why can't he do it? They're essentially the same fucking character. Just different, you know what I mean? Different situations. But besides that, though, I love the way the show is directed. The fucking dialogue is awesome. Fucking Wesley is creepy as fuck, but what I don't get is how come Wesley got shot in a scene at the end of one of the episodes. Remember the girl, Karen, shot him. And then the next episode, he was alive.
No, he's still dead.
Was that just a flashback? There were like a handful. I
have to go back, but no, he's dead.
I watched like 2 or 3 episodes afterwards, and like he was in those episodes, and I'm like, wait, what?
It might have been a flashback. I'd have to go back and watch, but no, he's dead because Fisk doesn't. He was like, you know, we got to find him. We got to find out who did this. You know, because he's distraught over the fact, because that was like his.
When does that happen? That must be happening about where I'm about to be at.
Yeah, because
at least 2 episodes go by and there's no mention of Wesley, because they show you shit that Wesley was actually.
Yeah, I think it was either an episode or 2 before they actually find his body.
Okay, but they make flashbacks to. There's flashbacks to shit he did, like when he brings Vanessa into the house after that meeting with Gao. Shit like that. And that's all after the episode that he got killed. So I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? But anyway, the way it's directed, the way it's shot, I love... Wesley is fucking creepy. And I like the fact that somehow that dude, I don't know...
He's grimy, too.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize it at first.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's ready to get down. And, but I always find it funny how shows don't point out how... Like when he was talking to... When he was talking to the chick, I forgot her name.
Karen?
When he was talking to Karen, like when he was either going to get ready to kill her or offer her a job.
He said, "This gun is here to scare you."
Yeah,
it's not here to kill you.
Talking down to her like she was the help, and I'm like, "But dude, you're the help too." So like, when did you get like uppity? Because you're not really at that level yet. You're helping dude out. You're not running shit. Yeah. But I always find that funny how the high class help looks down on everyone else.
Yeah. It's the way it works.
But I wish shows would point that shit out. Like,
yeah.
Like don't get too high out. Don't get too up on your high horse.
Yeah, but they're living in a whole different world anyway, so it doesn't even.
Yeah, but it's still servitude is still servitude.
Yeah, I know. But if you get paid what he's getting paid, I bet you he doesn't feel like it's servitude.
I guess
he's probably making millions. He's got to be. So I don't know. I still think he as a villain is a fucking cool character. They got that off. I fucking love Madame Gao. This shit is funny. Every scene she's in, I'm just like, wow. I knew from the first scene, I'm like, she speaks English. Come on. I know she's just fucking with them. It looks like it. And the fact that everybody's so respectful and stuff, and then there she is disrespecting them by not even speaking the language, laughing when he's saying shit. Like, she's quality. Freaking Nobu, of course. He was pretty cool. I had a feeling he was a ninja because he didn't act much. I was like, he has to be able to fight.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of know he's... Like, as soon as they introduce him, like, Japanese guy, he's got to deal with the hand.
Yep. Now, I will say I was disappointed that it was one. I wanted to see, like, fucking 8 of them or 10 of them attacking Daredevil the way we saw in the comics. You know, like, fucking, like Ninja Turtles, where, like, they're falling through skylights and fighting in, like, abandoned buildings and shit. Like, that's what I was expecting, but I'll take it. The one, he fought the one ninja.
It'd be nice if they do that in the second season.
Yeah.
Because you know they're going to resurface.
Mm-hmm. They have to. Because you know they're going to retread Elektra. They better, and they better do it right. You know they will, though. I don't have any doubts about that. Because goddamn, that movie they did Elektra. So Elektra's movie is easily probably the worst Marvel movie of all. Everyone disses Daredevil. All of a sudden, it's so bad. No, Daredevil was watchable. It had the one cringeworthy scene with him and Elektra in the park. Oh, God, that was horrible. The director's
cut even made the movie better.
Yeah, it made it a lot better because it was just a little bit more of the things that you needed to see to tie everything together. And it wasn't that bad of a story. It just wasn't 100% Daredevil. Now, I will say his costume is still... I'm still going to say it's better than the one in this TV series.
The series one grew on me. Like, when I saw the slits in the ears, because at first I was like, why'd they cut... Like, when you were showing me, I was like, why'd they cover the ears? But we only got to see it from the front. And then I saw a sketch from one of the artists on the show, and it was actually a screen at first, but then I guess it's covered, but they're slit so he can still hear. So I was like, all right, I get it. And the eyes are like, it's like a lens over the eyepiece, so it's growing on me.
It's still ugly as fuck. I don't care.
I did before.
It's still ugly. I'm sorry. It looks like a hoodie with a mask tied to it or sewn to it. The armor bits I don't mind. I'm just talking about the headpiece. I don't like the headpiece at all. Like, if they put the connector parts on the side of his neck and the sides of his jaw on the Affleck mask, it would have been perfect. It would have been completely perfect.
I mean, I do wish they'd actually gave him the little curved horns.
Yeah, like in the fucking intro of the show.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, did you guys not see this?
Yeah, that's my only gripe with that suit.
He just doesn't look like Daredevil. That's my problem. Like, when I look at him, like, if no one said anything and I just saw it happened across an image of the character, it doesn't look enough like Daredevil for that to be his costume. Granted, they might just change the costume later on and make it more, organic and less functional or tactical looking. I don't know. We'll see. But to me, the way the horns come to a point and the boxiness of the helmet, it just doesn't look like...
Oh, I will tell you this, though. Pay attention when he does... Because, he doesn't put the suit on till the last episode, which I figured from when I first started watching it.
Yeah.
But pay attention when he goes to pick up the suit.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean, you can't miss it, but... Yeah, it's kind of a cool little nod when you see it.
I'll check it out. Like I said, I'm almost done. I got 3 more episodes to watch.
Yeah,
so.
and I did dig the fight between him and Fisk at the end in the last episode because they were going at it, and there's times where it kind of goes back and forth, and then there's a part where like Fisk just basically just N-word drops him. just he picks him up and just like just throws him down. Wow. And then he picks up his own sticks and is beating them with it.
Oh wow!
Because he's got that crazy strength, that crazy man strength.
Oh my god!
Because he gets like I guess it's the way he goes crazy. Because it's like you took Vanessa from me. Like all the intelligence just leaves him, and he just goes to that base.
Strength.
Yeah.
Straight. He goes full retard.
Yeah, he just goes nuts.
You never go full retard. Yeah. Man. Yeah, I guess, like I said, I like the show. I'm not dissing it. There's just little things that I'm just like, man. And I think people who generally aren't exposed to a lot of the stuff we are exposed to, and people like us are exposed to, they're giving it way more credit than it deserves. I mean, some people say it's the best thing Marvel's ever done. I'm like, what? Why? Because there's blood and swearing in it? Like, really? That's the only thing it takes for it to be great?
In an episode.
I'm just like, come on, man. It takes more than that to be a super, great. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Marvel has just about everything on lock except for television.
And their animation.
And their animation sucks so bad. Oh,
yeah, they should just leave that
they need
alone.
to just stop or give it to Disney. Say Pixar animate our stuff for us because they'll do a better job than they will. But yeah, I don't know. I like the show. I think it's good. It's earned a lot of the praise. I don't think all of the praise is fair. Like, he's not a better fighter than anything I've seen Scott Adkins in. If you don't know who Scott Adkins is, look him the fuck up, and then you'll see why I'm not impressed. Scott, watch the Ninja 1 and 2. That's all you need to see. And then you'll see why I don't think Daredevil is quite up to snuff yet. Because, yeah, the background, the setting and everything can be dark and gritty, but Daredevil himself needs to be out of the ordinary. And I think, with the exception of his radar sense, he's not very out of the ordinary when it comes to fighting. He's just better than the majority of the characters in the show.
It would be cool if as the seasons progress, you start to see him take less and less damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's fucking...
treat this like a year one thing or
exactly.
whatever, if you want to.
Exactly. Because that's fucking martial arts 101. If you're fighting more than one person, you have to position yourself to take as little damage as possible as you keep going, You want to take people out with the least amount of work possible. You hit them immediately in a vulnerable spot so you can move on to the next guy. You don't hit the guy 50 times and then turn around and go hit the next guy 50 times. That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. But only fighters and martial arts heads will really pick up on that. The rest will be just like, oh my god, it's amazing. He's tired when he gets in fights. Oh my god, it's so gritty.
Or have him floss on... treat it like a tier system. Like, regular people should not be able to touch Daredevil.
Yeah.
Regular thugs. Yeah. Now, you throw in somebody like Bullseye or Elektra, then, you can run them through the ringer because those people are at the same level he is.
Mm-hmm. Or higher, because some of them have been up there for a while. That makes sense. But, no thugs. It's like when you're playing a video game. Like, if you get killed when you're playing Arkham City by one thug, you suck. Because the game is set up so that you should be able to take out the average thug. I mean, granted, as you put it up on higher difficulties, it gets kind of ridiculous. But you shouldn't be dying by the base level thugs. You know what I mean? It should always be, the second in commands or the bosses. It shouldn't be the fucking basic thugs. Or if you're playing Streets of Rage, who dies on a regular basis when you're playing on normal from the regular thugs that take 3 hits to kill? You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be how, they shouldn't be giving you a problem. But, these are very technical nitpicks, I guess. Yeah. Because, some people won't get it because they don't have the frame of reference. So, whatever. But overall, it's still pretty damn good. I'm pretty impressed with the fact that they were able to get so many things from the comics they actually put in there. And this is why I keep on getting so pissed when I see DC do the complete opposite. They're just like, oh, no, we're not going to make it look like the comic. Like Stick.
Yeah, Stick was my favorite thing about that whole series.
Yeah, he was just like the comics, I mean, he wasn't as bummy, which was pretty nice.
But I dug the hat, the the matching clothes. Yeah, it just looked like he stepped right off the comic.
Yeah,
he's the poster boy for I give zero fucks.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't care at all. He did not care. He knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah.
Who knocks out children like that, man? Knock it out.
And he was like, I made this for you. He was like, crumple. I'm leaving.
Yeah, man. Stick was awesome. Yeah, there were a lot of awesome, like I said, awesome things, nods to the comics. And if I'm not a huge Daredevil fan. I've read a handful of comics. I own a handful of Daredevil comics. He never was one of my favorite characters because I still feel like he's a bootleg Batman in Hell's Kitchen. Mm-hmm. So it's like, whatever. Replace the League of Assassins with the Hand. You know what I mean? He's not rich, but he has money from his dad dying, the money that he got from that fight. It's all kinds of weird little things it's like their version of the Batman story again. Marvel has a lot of Batmen and a lot of wannabe kind of Supermen, and then they have the one Superman, obviously, that I can't stand. But they did a good job making this feel like this doesn't necessarily feel 100% like Batman. I'll give them that. They even though there's similarities because of all the stealth, it still felt like its own entity. So
yeah, he looks like he would kick the
Christian
Nolan
Bale.
Batman.
Yeah,
whoop his ass.
Yeah, he probably would.
Shove them sticks right up the bat.
Probably would. At least from the second and the third film.
Yeah,
because in the first film he was just laying people the fuck out. I mean,
yeah, he was hurting though. He was putting the hurt on.
His punches were so short and like. It'd be like punch elbow, like one combination. Just man, he was just so good in the first. In Batman Begins, it went down the shitter as the series continued.
After Rachel died.
Rachel. It's what I do. It defines me. Oh my god. Okay, here's another thing. It's kind of lame, but it's. I felt like mentioning it. So the other day, Snake Eyes was killed in action. I don't care. I just don't give a shit. Like
I care more that Donatello died in the comics.
Yeah, than Snake Eyes. Like who cares? And it was in IDW's A Real American Hero, not in all of the Joe books. It's just in one of the Joe books. So you really don't. It doesn't matter because you could go into all these other books and he's still alive. The same applies for Donatello. He died in the main book, but he didn't die in all the other different Ninja Turtle books. So if you love Donatello, just don't read that book. Read all the other ones. People were complaining because it was like tied into a Serpentor and Cobra La kind of story, and he blew himself up. And I'm like, who cares? Thomas Wayne Batman just did the exact same thing, so it shouldn't be a big deal how he went. I mean, they said it wasn't Larry Hama's best work. I don't think everything every artist does or every writer does is always their best work, so I think that's nitpicking. They said there were too many stupid coincidences and stuff. It's G.I. Joe. I mean, the show is built on a lot of those coincidences, and the books carried a lot of that stuff over. I mean, they just didn't do it it wasn't as blatant as the cartoon always was, But it's G.I. Joe. It's like, they got to do something. The comics have been kind of on the same track for a very long time, and the toys, they're not doing anything with the toys. It's only these, middle-aged men with money to burn that just keep buying the shit that no one else wants. Everybody else is like, this is garbage, and even me, shit, and my friends, we're all like, yeah, this is stupid because you guys aren't really doing anything. You're reselling us 15-year-old product or 10-year-old product and then calling it something else because it's got a new deco. So, honestly, killing Snake Eyes is something to get the Joe comic book fans talking, but most people, it's like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to rain on Snake Eyes parade, but, like, number one, he was always the character that made the rest of the Joe team obsolete. So, yeah, if he gets killed, now the rest of them can actually do something. And it's one of those things where it's like, they can't rely on Snake Eyes now, so they have to be more badass. To me, that's a good thing, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. When I was a kid, I always made Snake Eyes going off to Japan so that the other team could do stuff, the rest of the team could do stuff, so I just don't care. I felt like I'd bring it up so you guys could shed some light on the subject if you want. All you G.I. Joe comic heads can, you know, go nuts in the comments. But, like, I really, honestly, just... I read it, I laughed, and then I went on about my business. I was like, okay. So, yeah, Snake Eyes is dead. Now, here's another thing I wanted to bring up, because, you know, before we go in on Hasbro, and I guess we might, by proxy, go in on Hasbro. So both of us collect figures from Japan.
Japan.
I know, Japan. We like a lot of, I don't know, I admire the amount of artistic integrity that the Japanese toy producers actually show, as opposed to the complete sloppy, get it out there, cash grab mentality that the American market does, almost all across the board, like the big boys do. They have no problem asking you for more money, but they don't give you more in the package. Whereas, like, you could buy a figure for like $5 to $10 more from Japan, and you get so much more. And, you know, there's still people who diss the Japanese figures or don't give them the props they deserve, and they want to sit and
They're
stick
in denial.
with... Yeah, they want to stick with what they've always done. Now, I want to go in and I did a video, and it'll be up soon, where I kind of map it out a little bit more with visuals, but I have issues with the American toy market because they're sloppy. They're super sloppy, and I'll give you an example. Age of Ultron just came, or was about to come out, actually, and they did the toys. They just came out. If you look at the Age of Ultron cap, that figure is not on model, with the exception of his chest and maybe his helmet, but he's mostly not on model. Most of what's on that figure was the Winter Soldier's costume, the Winter Soldier stealth cap costume, because that's the exact figure that they built it on.
Yeah.
And everything else is, everything else is from the Winter Soldier version of Cap, except for the chest plate. And then that's it. They just painted him with the colors of the current Cap in Age of Ultron. SH Figuarts is making an Age of Ultron Cap. And when you see him next to the Marvel Legends version, it's like, whoa, how were they allowed to do this? I mean, like, Cap has these really complicated gloves with, like, fucking knuckle dusters built in and shit, and they go all the way up to his forearm. The Marvel Legends toy, they painted brown over the one strap that he had of those small gloves he had in Winter Soldier, and then they just painted brown all the way down to his forearm. I mean, like, no new sculpting, nothing. Red, the places where the red goes, it's like they just put colors in the general area, but they didn't actually go back and retool the details. And it wouldn't have cost much because the base body is right there.
Plus, I'm pretty sure all those bodies are on a CAD program somewhere.
Exactly.
So they could have easily went in and just tooled around with the digital model and send it off to print.
Exactly. And they're not doing it. It's not like back in the day when these things were fucking, sculpted by hand and then cast by hand, and then the molds were made from those casts.
Days.
Yeah, it's not like that. They're using fucking 3D printers, so it should be so much easier. And yet, every toy fair, you have Hasbro, Mattel, whoever, giving you excuses as to why the figures can't be better than they are. Why they make so many shortcuts as opposed to, trying.
I know, they put a lot of work into the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure.
Yeah, because it's almost an entirely new sculpt.
Yeah.
I think it is a new sculpt. It's just, that kind of shit pisses me off. And then you move over to Japan, right? To Japan. And they make figures of, like, all kinds of stuff. And only recently have they really started to tap into the American market. And they're giving us better versions of our own characters than our own companies give us. Like, Bandai's version of Cap looks better than fucking Hasbro's version.
Bandai's version of
anything is better, I know. But Hasbro has the master fucking license for Marvel stuff. And somehow they can't get that right. And you have people who are still arguing that it's a good, I like it. Okay, you like it, that's good. But you have to be able to admit when, call a spade a spade. If it looked like the movie, then it's good. It looks like the movie. If it does not look like the movie, just say so. You were paying for a figure from Age of Ultron. It says so on the package. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So when you open up the figure and you get the Winter Soldier version of Cap with a new chest, you've been gypped. And you've been robbed. It's one of those things. It's like you can't get mad at the people who point it out because we don't want to get ripped off. I mean, and if you like it still, you convinced yourself that it's cool. Okay, you convinced yourself it's cool. It doesn't mean that it's a good business practice.
Wake up, open the box. You got. You've been robbed.
It's sad, man. I just don't get it. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. It's just I don't want to pay for them to pull the wool over my eyes. Like, when I do get that SH Figure Arts Cap, I'm going to show you the difference. All the things. I mean, I almost guarantee you something on there will be magnetic.
Yeah, I'm getting all of them.
You're greedy.
I'm trying to get the War Machine.
Don't bother with the if you already have the Mark 42, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't get the Mark 42.
I didn't get any. The only one I have is the one from Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get it, but that's the one thing I don't like about Bandai is their Tamashii web exclusive.
Oh my god, they're almost impossible unless you wait a couple years.
Yeah. And
then they pop back up on all kinds of other sites. Yeah, I don't know. That's the problem I'm having with Cap. I wasn't able to pre-order them. And that's the thing that bothers me about Japanese figures. But I will say still, the quality and the things you get in the box. I mean, you guys saw my Saber review, the Saber 2.0 review. You don't get that kind of shit with your American figures at all. I mean, when was the last time? None of the reviewers are geeked about the toys they review. If they are, they do a good job hiding it.
Or they're being,
cool on
sponsored.
Camera. Yeah.
So they have to tell you it's great.
Exactly.
Because that's how they get paid.
Because, man, if I was excited even about my bootleg Asuna. And because once I knew I could fix it with the different joints, I was like, shit, this is kind of cool. But, when I got my, and I have to put that review up, man, my Mezco Batman. Because it was the one with the wrong colors, I got the teal colored one. I was pissed because I wanted the dark blue colored one, like that kind of blue over there,
yeah.
And or the black and gray one. So I kind of wasn't as happy, but the figure's still awesome. But the excitement level for the type of figure is different. Like when you collect Japanese figures, you talk because I've been running my mouth.
Yeah, I really don't have anything else to add. Like I did that Jehudi review, and I was just totally happy with, just the way it was constructed. Like,
didn't Sentinel do that one?
Yeah, that was their real buy. Yeah, they just came out with Anubis too, but I got no monies for that, unfortunately. So unless it shows up in the bargain bin on Hobby Search, that probably will be the only way I'll get it. But They just do it all better. I can't really say anything else, that I haven't already said in an action figure review of a Japanese toy. Their paint apps are great. Their articulation's on point. Like I don't see why. If I was Hasbro, I would straight buy one of those figures, break it down, figure out how it all works, and I would straight up steal it.
Exactly.
I would straight steal their. Maybe it's patented and they can't. Maybe the joint articulation.
Well, yeah, a lot of Figma, SH Figure Arts, and the like, they're patented.
Yeah, so. I'd find a way around that patent, or I'd find a way to
copy off of one of the lesser companies like D Arts or something, and just imitate. Don't imitate everything because there's stuff
just find a way to make your articulation better.
Yeah, make it work because there's no reason why Cap can't do the splits. He's a fighter. There's no reason why, how many Batman figures do you have that can't do the splits?
Yeah. Plus, Hasbro has to stop reusing body parts that they already have.
Yeah.
When they've already showed that they can make better pieces that better joints.
Uh-huh.
I shouldn't see a figure on the Ronin body. I shouldn't see a figure on the Nick Fury body.
Yeah,
that body is fucking awful.
Yeah, they should just throw that shit out.
And the diaphragm joint. I don't even know why he has a diaphragm joint because you can't. It really
doesn't do anything. It just turns.
You shouldn't be using those bodies anymore. Take that Nick Fury that they just put out. with the 3-pack. They should have just took that head and put it on a different body, and threw the trench coat on and called it a day. A better body.
Yep, I agree.
It just doesn't make sense why they still are using. I mean, it makes sense because they're fucking cheap, you know, because they're gonna turn around and take all those already done assets.
I mean, they're literally
put them out and charge you $50 for it.
Yeah, it's $50, and it's like 2 of the figures are they're retooled. Actually,
all of them.
One, well, not Coulson, right? Isn't Coulson a new body?
I figured he was like the Professor X body or something.
You might be right. I don't know.
There's got to be a body that has a suit.
Well, it's the new body, the new suited body that they're about to use for Hammerhead.
Oh, and
so I thought it was new. That's what it looks like. I could be wrong because I'm not a Marvel Legends person, and I don't give a shit. I don't care. Because, like, there's people who love to get in there and say, you're totally wrong about this. Well, guess what? Just tell us what it is.
Yeah, I thought it was the Professor X body, but I could be wrong, too.
When I first saw it, I thought it was that old... God, maybe it was Professor X. A lot of people did Tony Stark customs with it. It was a suited body, and they'd put Tony Stark's head on it. But either way... They're charging you a price that shouldn't be warranted by the fact that they reuse things. Usually when you reuse, you keep costs down.
Yeah. So they kept costs down, and they're getting even more money.
And they're still asking you for more money.
So there should be no excuse why Hasbro can't do certain things when they just made money off of all of y'all. Because all of y'all bought that stuff. Mm-hmm. I even bought it. You know, for Coulson.
For shame.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking my head in shame too, because I was not. I knew I wasn't going to be happy with the Nick Fury body, so I was like, well, I'll keep the guns.
You both.
I made it already. I made it like a year ago.
You made a better Nick Fury?
No, it's the same body.
Oh.
I took the Nick Fury. I took the head off of the old movie Nick Fury, the one that actually looked like Sam Jackson because that body was kind of garbage. I put it on a spare Nick Fury where his trench coat was already black, and then I just put the web gear on it underneath, and that was going to be my ultimate Marvel Nick Fury. And so when they did this, and I was like, all they did was they did the same thing I did. They just made his jacket glossy.
Pretty much, they put the head on the what's his name, the Nick Fury head on the Red Skull body.
Yeah,
that we got.
Yeah, because his left hand is the Tesseract holding hand.
Yeah,
and I don't even know why they did the Maria Hill hand and didn't give you any extra hands to go with it.
Yeah,
because one hand is a fist and the other is a gun hand.
Yeah.
So, like, why not just give her 2 fists and 2 gun holding hands and give her some pistols?
Yep. They only put 2 pistols in there, and they both are supposed to go to Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. Like I said, the Hasbro, and I told you this was going to get into Hasbro.
Yeah. But then you do the fucking Iron Fist body or the Iron Fist toy, and he has all those hands, which is fucking awesome. I was like, this is almost like a Japanese figure with all these hands. Almost.
Too bad the figure itself is kind of shitty. Because I know that body is the same.
It's an older body.
It's the Bullseye body. I know it as the Banshee body because Banshee had it, Havoc had it. I hate that fucking body. But it's nice that they gave you the extra hands.
Yeah, I was like, this is actually cool. Like, why did you think about it in this case, but then you didn't think about it with the $50 3-pack?
Yeah. Like, it was all about the money. They didn't give a shit about that. They weren't thinking about anything else. They were like, man, we know these Marvel Legends fanboys are going to want this particular thing, so let's give them this the cheapest possible way, and let's get that money. And they did. They were like, go ahead, boys and girls, go give us the money. And that's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, you look at companies like Figma and shit, or Good Smile Company, I guess, and you look at all the figures they've done, the Attack on Titan figures. I don't even like the show anymore, but the designs, I give them props for. You know, the designs are dope. The freaking every figure looks the part. I mean, even though they reused parts there because they all wear the same uniform and they're all relatively the same size, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense for you to take characters who are different heights and different musculature and then give them the same, all of them on Bucky Cap body. Like, Bucky Cap is like that one, there's only a handful of characters that even have that body.
Yeah. And I always said they should make a body in between the Bucky Cap and the Hyperion body.
They did in the new ones. I think the Doctor Strange and the what's his name, the Grim Reaper. It's supposed to be a different body. I honestly didn't see it.
I don't care about the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and supposedly
I know fans
all these people do.
But fuck the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
This is the guy with the hook hand, the glorified hook hand. Like, I was like, how is this guy an Avengers villain?
He was. I mean, he's an old Avengers villain too that like people didn't seem to really give a shit about, and then he showed up on Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I guess all of a sudden now he's a wanted character. So whatever works for you guys. Yeah. Whatever works. I know. I just don't give a shit. You know, like I said, I'm done. I have a handful of Marvel Legends to review, which it's the Maidens of Might, quote unquote.
Yeah, they need to stop with those names.
Yeah, man, it's pretty bad. And Thor. I have the Thor from that same line. But here's the last big thing about Hasbro I want to bitch about. Why is it that, and we talked about this in the Shooting the Shite video that we did, why is it that they can't just give you a wave of related material? Why is it that they give you 3 characters from Age of Ultron and then a bunch of comic characters, and then it's a Thanos Build-A-Figure as he appears in the comics, and then there's another wave that has a couple other characters like Ultron and Vision and the Hulkbuster, and then a bunch of other comic book characters, and then there's the Ant-Man wave that only has Ant-Man, and then a whole bunch of comic book characters. Like, why can't they?
Ant-Man, Giant Man, and then a bunch of characters that have nothing to do with the movie.
But like the Giant Man is a comic. He's one of the comic figures.
Yeah.
So like, why not just do a movie like Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, fucking Janet, freaking Henry Pym or Hank Pym, whatever. Like,
I think they are doing a Janet, but it's the comic.
It's the comic book version. What I'm saying is, like, you remember when Blade came out? Toy Biz did a Blade line.
Yeah.
Or like when X-Men came out, they did an X-Men line. Why is it like not common sense for them to just do that so that we can say, I want the X-Men stuff or I want the Avengers stuff? Like when we used to collect movie figures when Hasbro first got the license. That was another problem. They would do these waves of like 3 figures for the movie line. Like the first Avenger wave, it had Nick Fury, the first Avenger Cap, and then it had some a weird version of Thor. Or Loki or something, like a comic book version of Loki. Then Thor, it was like you had Thor, you had a weird version of Loki, and a weird version of somebody else. I think another weird version of Thor. I can't remember. I just know that it was like 3 figures. They were at Walmart. Everybody was kind of like searching for them. And then when you find them, it was like, wow, there wasn't much to collect. Or maybe it was 2 versions of Cap, and then I can't remember. It's been so long. Whatever. You guys can tell me what it was in the comments. But they at least did a line that was dedicated to the film. So when you go looking for your
even
figures,
the Winter Soldier was more dedicated,
and they still failed with that though. God, it was like what 3 figures once again from the movie, and then everything else was comic book figures, and then they missed the fucking Falcon.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you miss the Falcon? You could have given us Crossbones and Falcon in that line, and maybe even a movie Red Skull, because they never did a movie Red Skull.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't understand why is it that this stuff, like, I don't even hear the Marvel Legends fanboys talking about this shit. Like, every now and then I go over there and I check what's going on just to see if there's something cool that I might be interested in. You guys don't ask for that shit. Instead, you bitch about really corny stuff and then you justify it by the fact that you can make a custom. If you have to do work on the figure that exists, then that means the company failed. I never have to do work. I rarely. This is the first time with that bootleg that I showed you guys, and I knew I was going to do it. That's the first time I actually did work on one of my import figures. Typically, I don't do work on them. And if something was wrong, like I got a defective figure, and then I emailed the Good Smile company, and they told me show them pictures. I showed them pictures, and I got a new one on the way. So then I was like, let me screw around with it and see if I can fix what's defective with it, with the joints that I bought.
Yeah, even third-party transformer companies are quick to handle mishaps.
And here's Hasbro. They created the action figure. Let it sink in for like a couple seconds. They created the action figure, the thing that even the Japanese companies are now doing. And they don't replace shit properly. You know what I mean? Like, Every time I've ever called, they blamed it on the vendor. They always said, "Oh, your comic book, blame the comic book store, or blame Target, or blame whatever. You need to go take it back to them and have them get you another one." ODC That's Me said that they gave him vouchers. I don't know. I wasn't a dick on the phone. I just told them, I was like, this figure out of the package. And a lot of times, too, the figures I was buying, it wasn't always for me, because I buy figures for my older son, because he's more of a Marvel person than DC. And when an arm doesn't work or something and we can't get it to work once you freeze it or whatever, I'm like, we need to call them. I call them. They blame Target. They blame, Toys R Us. They blame the comic book store. So I don't know what the issue is with them. You know what I mean? And considering this happens so much, they should be on it by now where they fix things immediately. Like, send me a picture. Here's the picture. I'll send you video if that works even better. And then, they give us a new figure. So I don't know. I don't understand why people are so loyal to Hasbro based on their shitty track record and their shitty logic. And it's just a lot of things they're not doing right as a toy company that has a license that practically sells itself. I mean, they don't really have to do anything. All they have to do is put Spider-Man's face on the package and, or put the Marvel logo on the package, and it's going to fly off the shelf. It's just like Star Wars. So I don't get why they can't do some certain basic things the right way, Some of this stuff, like, it makes me look back and I bitch.
They just need to work. They need to go to work.
Yeah. It's weird because, I look back at when I was collecting DCUCs, and a lot of things that I bitch about with Marvel Legends, you had a little bit of it in, a wave or two with your DCUCs, but it wasn't always a constant problem. It was availability that was always the biggest problem with DCUCs. You would never find them in the store. I don't know. And it used to be that was the biggest problem with your Marvel Legends, and now Marvel Legends are every goddamn where. I've seen all three waves simultaneously at Target.
Yeah, I need to go and look because I got to get a few of the figures from the Spider-Man wave, but
yeah,
I'm disappointed in that Spider-Man. I really am.
People are bigging that one up a little too much. I think it's an okay figure, but you'll see my reviews about to come out. It's not as great. It's not better than the Amazing Spider-Man 2 figure. I think sculpt-wise, keeping the sculpt together it is, but as far as articulation, there's so much shit you can do with the other one that you just cannot do with this one. But people are they're gonna like whatever the fuck they want to like.
Yeah, no, and I was even like, man, I gotta stop buying Spider-Man figures because I have too many versions. And I was like, this will be the last one, but I'm probably not gonna get it now.
Yeah, I was tempted to, at the time that I picked that one up, I was actually looking for the Mayfex one, and the Mayfex one I can't find for under $100. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just get this one because it's Spider-Man. I mean, he's not my all-time favorite character, but if I'm gonna get one, I may as well get an affordable one that won't fall apart because it's possible the Mayfex one might have. I haven't seen it yet. But the Mayfex Batman had issues, and I don't want to have those issues with my Spider-Man. So, I don't know. That's just my perspective on that part. I don't know. What else did we have? That's it. We already talked about the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When we collect, and it was funny because while I was talking to ODC That's Me and Clarion Prime on the last video we did, he pointed it out too. He was like, I spend a lot of money in increments over, a lot of figures, but I'm not as excited about the figures that I'm getting. And he's like, and then here you go, you spend a little bit more on the one figure and you waited it out, and then you get a figure that you're fucking over the moon about. And I'm like, this is why you collect figures. When I collect a figure, I want to walk past the shelf and then be like, oh shit, and take that figure off and be reminded why I have it in my collection. Because to me, that's why we're collecting the fucking figures. You know what I mean? You don't want to get it so it sits on a shelf and you never visit it again. That was a waste of money. You want to get it so that you're like, damn, somebody actually did this shit. They fucking sculpted this character that I really like, and they did such a good job that I want to play with this thing every time I see it. That makes sense. To be wasting money on figures that you don't ever want to revisit again, go back and think about it. What's the point, And I know no fucking collector, reviewer, whatever even mentions this. But it's one of those things that I think about. Like, when I rearrange my man cave, I always think about that shit. Like, which figures do I want to put away, like in a box or something, so that I can make room for other figures? And sometimes I can't make up my mind because I have out figures that I always want to play with. You know, like, I always have to have room for all my Soda Street Fighter figures because I fucking play with them. I gotta have my Metal Gear, some of my Metal Gear figures out because I play with them. I gotta have my Fies collection out because I fucking play with that shit. Like, every time I see them, I gotta grab one out and play with them and pose them and change up what's going on the shelf. Fucking my Figmas, it's the same way. So it makes me wonder why, like, people collect based on the hype, or do they collect based on their love of the characters for real? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how's it work for you? I know you don't have your shelf, a whole bunch of shelves set up, but I know you have some shelves.
I mean, basically, I kind of do the same thing. I haven't, although now that I've set up some stuff, I don't plan on moving it for a while. Mm-hmm. At least until probably next year. Like, I'm hoping to move next year into a larger space, so then I can afford the space to put in more shelves, or more cases, because as it stands now, I don't have the room. Unless I can get rid of some of my wife's medical books, then I'd have space. She's not reading them.
Yeah, that's true. You should put them in storage, or put them in a box under the bed,
or send them to fucking half-price books.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I play with them. I'll put them up. Like, I just put up like the majority of my Marvel Legends until I got a shelf reserved for them. I'm probably just gonna do the movie figures, and then and whatever villains that I have that go with them, and then the rest is just gonna sit in my box until I feel like switching it out again with maybe the comic book versions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know. Maybe you guys have your version of that too.
Like, I got too many Transformers to.
I thought that would be the majority of what you have on display.
I could fill that whole case I just bought with just Transformers. Like, I had to box up all my Beast Wars figures because I don't have a shelf big enough for them. Like,
they're old as fuck though.
I know, but no, I bought the redo of Dinobot.
Oh, and Rhinox
and Rat Trap, and then and they also did one of Cheetor back in like a few years ago. So I got those. Then I bought. I finally got around to buying the Transmetal Megatron. We transformed to the Dragon. The only one I didn't buy was the redo of Optimus Primal, which I wanted, and screwed around and didn't buy it. So I'm not trying to pay aftermarket.
I never saw that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably end up not buying.
But you have the other one, don't you?
No.
Oh, you have.
I was trying to buy it off.
Optimus.
Yeah, I have Optimal Optimus too. Yeah, I was trying to buy the Primal one off of eBay, but I wasn't willing to pay those prices.
If you wait, you might find it for the right price. That's what I'm noticing. Like, there's this Saber figure by Enterbrain. It's called the Hyper Fate collection, and she's a 7-inch figure. She comes with a realistic head and an anime head because the armor is done it's like the equivalent of the SIC figures to the SH Figure Arts figures. And the figure's fucking nice. And it's finally, back like maybe a year or two ago, it was like over $100 easily. Now it's down to like 50. Yeah. I've even seen it for like 49. It's just that the auction ended faster than I had time to get to. So I am going to be getting that and reviewing that, and you guys are going to bust nuts watching it because the fucking figure is amazing. I mean, like, the detail on that figure, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, how do they pull this stuff off? How is it that how does this figure exist and most people don't even have a clue that it exists? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But, yeah, she's not superposable, but I don't care because I already got the best, like, Saber figure they have as far as posability and sculpt goes. But just looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this will be the one that stays on the shelf, and I'll play with the other one. But,
yeah. I also want a Figma Guyver.
Yeah, that you need to get that shit.
Yeah,
It's,
I know.
it's like $60 now.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping it would show up on that site that
Yeah,
site
we're not gonna
talk about.
Yeah, man. We're not gonna give away all our secrets. Oh, here's one for $50 in the package with $7 shipping, and it's in Cali, so it's not like.
Yeah, I gotta pay a couple bills and then I'll see what I got left. Because I also have to pay my car insurance note next month.
Yay, grown up stuff.
Yeah, I know. Getting all in the way
that.
of all my toy activities. Because I pre-ordered a long time ago. I pre-ordered the Warbatron Onslaught. I think it's Onslaught. Whoever it is, that's the base body for Bruticus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that, and it's. I think it's gonna come out soon because they just released the colored version. But I haven't bought any of the limb characters yet, so I gotta buy those so I can have a Bruticus finally, and then Perfect Effect is doing the Leo Convoy, and I really want that guy because I've always wanted a Leo Convoy figure.
I used to want him back when I got my Robots in Disguise Optimus, but I don't know, because I saw that figure at KB once. You remember when all those figures were showing up here? I saw Leo Convoy, and I saw what was the Megatron called?
I can't remember. Magmatron or something?
Yeah, it was a weird version of Megatron along the lines of the one that was from Robots in Disguise with the two-headed dragon parts.
Yeah, I think that was Magmatron.
Yeah, it might have been Magmatron. I saw him there too. But yeah, I just was like, whatever. I got the one I want. I got the one I consider the best, so I wasn't even interested. But
I also have Tigerhawk, that Beast Wars figure, and those figures are huge.
Really?
Like Optimal Optimus is big.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Then you have the Megatron, and then the Tigerhawk, and Rhinox is I don't think he's leader. He's not quite leader class, but he's. I think he's a little bigger than Voyager, or maybe he's a Voyager class figure. But anyway, he takes up a lot of space because he's wide too. So all that shit would take up that like an entire shelf. And I have Rampage, and Rampage was a big figure.
Rampage.
Yeah, he transformed into the giant crab and then the tank.
Oh yeah. Like a bootleg Scorponok. Oh, yeah, I know. Space is one of those things. Because, like, even now, I'm kind of, like, looking at what I have out, and I've put stuff in cases. Like, all my Halo shit is in a crate. And some of my older Marvel Legends are in a crate. The stuff that I wasn't playing with, the stuff that didn't hit me the way that I've been talking about, that's old or that I got because it was overhyped and I fell into that trap.
Yeah.
All that shit's in a box. Or stuff that I just don't really mess with anymore. And like there's a couple things like all my Super Sentai stuff, I want to have a bigger shelf just for them. Right now I have certain ones out with my Kamen Riders and shit, but eventually I'm going to get another shelf and just put all that shit together.
Yeah, I got a shelf for just the Sentai stuff and some of the anime stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't filled it up yet because I want to do a review of the Akiba Ranger figures before I put them on the shelf.
I need to do that too. I got mine looking at me right now. Fucking Akiba Red is in like a lot of my reviews, and I still haven't fucking reviewed him yet. I have like a backlog of shit that I'm still trying to go through. I still have to finish. I have to do the review of the Axle Mode, and I've had that for a grip for the Axle Mode 5s, and
yeah, fuck, I got a lot of shit to do. I haven't even finished my custom.
You haven't finished
I'm almost done. I'm almost done with that Ronin blade. Yeah, I haven't done that either. Fuck.
Finish them. You're like halfway there.
Yeah.
Finish that shit first. They need you, man. None of the reviews that I've seen for those figures were worth a shit. Like, it seemed like the people reviewing it would never tell you if it was bad, and you know it's because they're sponsored. So it's like you need to jump in and do that so that people can hear some truth. Because like I've seen so many reviews where like the figure falls apart and then they're like, oh yeah, I can fix that. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Motherfucker, it fell apart as you reviewed it. You need to be sending it back and complaining and telling people not to buy it. Like Chronos. People's Chronos, I've seen it break on camera and they still said, it's not the worst figure. I'm like, you paid almost $200 for the damn thing.
Why not shoot it
when it breaks? Because they do those in
figure.
They do those.
Edit that shit out.
Yeah, if you're not gonna tell the truth, why not just edit it out? I don't know. I think they're just not skilled enough. And
God, that's sad. Just Premiere is so easy to use.
Shit, iMovie is so easy to use. You don't even have to think about it. You literally just select the part you want to get rid of and just boop, get rid of it.
God.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, and the fact that they won't. It's worse that they won't say that the figure sucks. Like that's the part that's worse. Like you can't even transform it without it breaking on you, and you're gonna sit there and try to convince people to buy this figure. And
I don't watch Optibotimus anymore.
Oh my god!
After he did that review of that Transformers Prime Optimus Prime that came in the box that was shaped like the Matrix.
Yeah.
He sat there and talked about the box more than the figure. Just admit that figure is garbage. We know it is. Don't dance around it. Like when you're telling me that the box is cooler than the figure and that it comes with a lanyard and you can wear it around your neck why would I wear a box shaped like the Matrix around my neck? I'm a Transformers head, and I wouldn't fucking do that. Like that's stupid. Like that's for the kids that buy it, so they can pretend they have the Matrix.
Yeah,
that's not. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, but a lot of
I have a vivid imagination, but I won't do that. No.
That's messed up, but it's so true. Shit, I have a vivid imagination too, and there's a lot of shit that I see a lot of these quote unquote fans do that I just that's not where I'm going. I don't know. I could go on and on about that shit. I get tired of pointing out ACBA because there's so much dumb shit I see in ACBA that makes me mad that I'm just like, you know what? Let me leave you guys alone. Do what you do. Cats talk about they used to sell drugs, but now they play with action figures. Like, you should have kept that.
Admit that?
Keep that to yourself. I'm sorry. I had to say that one. That still boggles my mind.
Damn.
Keep that to yourself. But, hey, at least now you're not selling drugs.
At least you're doing something positive.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. It's like that doesn't... No,
maybe you should have been selling drugs in the first place?
It doesn't give you street cred because now you play with action figures. And then you turn around and rap about it in a video about toys. Like, yeah, no, homie, I'm sorry. But that's me. It works for the rest of them. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to just hate for the sake of hating. I just don't get it. It just seems stupid to me. So whatever works. I don't know. Anything else?
Oh man.
Any other business? Yeah, I don't have much more to say. So
yeah, man.
So on that note, good night everybody. Good night everybody.
Say no to drugs.